Joe Marino, Matt Derry, Locked On Bills, Locked On Lions, Thursday crossover. So many good games, Joe, by the way, at 425. I'm bummed out. I want to watch Eagles Steelers. That's not happening. I'd love to see Colts and Broncos. That's not happening. The 1 o'clock slate is so bad, Joe. And our game's going to be up against some really good ones on Sunday.
Yeah, I think a lot of people will be tuning in for this, right? It's the CBS game of the week. They're bringing the whole crew to Detroit, right? It'll be a big one. So this is the one you want to watch. It is unfortunate that the 1 o'clock slate's not a little bit more balanced out for us, though.
No doubt about it. All right, how do the Bills win this game? What do you see as some things they need to do?
Yeah, I got 3 things, Matt. Number 1 is being aggressive on offense. We talked about some of the matchup challenges that the Bills can present based on personnel, and obviously the Lions do have a lot of injuries on the defensive side of the football. Still a good unit, still, high performing. They got dudes, man, and they're well coached. Nothing but respect for Detroit and the entire operation. But if there's going to be a path for Buffalo in this game, I think it's going to be aggressive offense that not only maybe takes advantage of some matchups that are in the Bills' favor, but like I said, help your run defense by maybe getting Detroit to not run the ball a million times against you, and the Bills can obviously be had against the ground. So number 2 is they got to have the right plan against the Lions' run game. The Bills don't play base defense at all. They play nickel, and if they play something else, it's dime. 5-6 defensive backs on the field always. So how are you going to deal with this? The Lions will play heavy personnel. They're going to run the ball a ton. They have physical offensive linemen. Your defensive line's not been super stout against the run. It's not like horrible, but it's mediocre, and this is a top-tier rushing offense. And do you need to run blitz? Do you need to roll a safety down into the fit to help yourself? You got to have the right plan. I'm not sitting here telling you what the plan is. That's for Sean McDermott and Bobby Babbage to figure out. But whatever it is, you got to do enough here to limit it and not allow the Detroit Lions to have 300 rushing yards on you. And then number 3 is I have written down is nothing miscellaneous. The Detroit Lions show up every week with trick plays. They show up with stuff on special teams that's unique. They're a team that can score on defense. And this isn't the type of game where you can come into it and afford to have a punt block for a touchdown or give up a big return in special teams, or, you're playing decent defense and then they wake up because they're throwing a hook and ladder. Whatever the things the Lions do, man, you got to be ready for all of those possibilities and make sure that this game's decided in normal fashion as opposed to miscellaneous things that extend a drive or give an unexpected touchdown to a team that's really good at home.
No, I think that's those are all great points and all great things to circle. For the Lions, it's pretty simple. First quarter is something that I'm circling only because last week was so emotional. They played the Thanksgiving Day game at home. Then it's another Thursday game against the Packers. Both division games, Bears and Packers, they wanted those. I'm not saying they're overlooking the Bills. No way. Yeah. They know how good Buffalo is. There's nobody more focused than the Lions and Dan Campbell getting everybody ready. But a few days off, a few extra days for this. First quarter, do the Lions come out 100% into this thing? Keep an eye on that. First 5 minutes is going to be key. What if the Bills throw the first punch? Or the Lions going to be ready for it? Watch the open of this game and just see how that goes. I think the Lions have got to come out with the same intensity that they did against Green Bay. And it'll help that the fan base is crazy and the place will be loud. Number 2 is getting pressure. Certainly I should say protecting Jared Goff. What I found interesting watching Rams-Bills last week, I don't believe you guys sacked Matthew Stafford at all. No. Right? And it's not all sacks. I know you're a pressures guy too and some pass rush win rate stuff. But for the most part, if they can do what the Rams O-line did with Stafford and keep Russo and some of those other guys off of Jared Goff, I think it'll be a good day for the Lions offense, certainly. And then you mentioned before about trick plays and stuff. I want to keep it simple if I'm the Lions. Like you said, hey, Penei Sewell on a reverse throwing the football. That's fun. Fans loved it. It was an attempt on Thanksgiving Day, but let's maybe keep those in the bag this week and just go with Montgomery and Gibbs and pound the rock and stay with it. Because like you said, Joe, and we've been at this 26 minutes, if the Bills can be run upon a little bit here, the Lions need to take advantage of that and not have one of those games where Goff's throwing it 40 or 50 times.
Yeah, and a big part of the Rams and I think how they were able to be so successful, literally it was by EPA, it's a top 10 performance in the NFL in the last 25 years, what the Rams did to the Bills on defense. And I think at the root of that was their ability to be two-dimensional, right? They ran the ball well, they threw the ball well, and that was good complementary offense. And whichever team I think can stay two-dimensional in this game offensively is going to have the best chance to win it. And, I mean, you're talking about two good football teams. What's the spread on this thing? 2.5 in favor of Detroit. It's the highest over-under of the week, right, in terms of points they're expecting. I think it's at 54.5. It's the only game over 50 this week, and they're at 54.5. Like, this is going to be, or it's expected to be, a high-scoring, tight game. And if you can stay two-dimensional, if you can limit the mistakes, and I think to your point, keep it simple and execute, that's going to go a long way in winning this football game.
So last week was the first week all year I picked against the Lions. I actually took Green Bay. I took some shrapnel from the audience, and
Matt.
you know, Pete loved it. Pete loved it. Our friend in Green Bay. But this week I'll go back to the Lions. You mentioned it before. I mean, both these teams average 30 a game. Why wouldn't it be a 33-30 final? I think the Lions will win a close one. Buffalo's damn good, and you know, fresh off a loss, which I don't know. I'm one of those that feels like, a really good team just lost. They're going to want to bounce back. So I'll go Lions by 3 in a high scoring game. How about you?
Yeah, I found myself rooting for the Lions, and I like the Lions, right? If it's not the Bills this year, please let it be the Lions. I've enjoyed, I'm a team building guy, man. How do you not love what's going on in Detroit? Like, if you just love the NFL and you love football and you love team building, you love what's happening in Detroit. So yeah, I was rooting for them. I normally am, but I was like, I don't want to face this team going off a loss. You know, that was really more so that was the motivation for this one. And obviously that race for the North is pretty tight with Minnesota, right? They only have 2 losses, and that's the finale, right, against Minnesota. So I know Vikings and Eagles fans are big Bills fans this week, but I don't know, man. I don't feel good about the Bills in this one. I think that the Lions present too many problems offensively. And I think that they're better in the margins. I think they're a better team on special teams. And I think that their defense hasn't let their team down like maybe the Bills have at times. So I think there's a lot to buy into with the Bills and coming off of a loss and refocusing and late season sting of a loss. There's a lot of good reasons to buy into Buffalo. But this is a Lions team with a rest advantage at home, the best team in the league that I think challenges the Bills in all the ways that concern you the most.